Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey everyone, it's Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show where we chat with founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And I'm excited to be here with Arnell. Arnell, what is happening?
Hey Duncan, what's up? And thanks everyone for tuning in to this latest episode of the Firebelly Social Show. We have a great show lined up for you today, and this episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-driven food and beverage brands bring people closer through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more.
And before we get started, we're going to do a quick few shout outs. We're going to shout out Will from AKQA Foods, who was a great guest recently and is also very interested in our topic. We shout out Buck from Sprout Social, who we love, and also Jeremy Wise, Dr. Jeremy Wise from Rise 25, who's one of the top podcasters in the world. And with that, I'm so excited to welcome Tina White from Brainiac Foods. Tina is the Chief Commercial Officer of the company, and the company is dedicated to the whole family's brain development, performance, and health, something we do not hear about very much and often enough. And she's on a mission to make it easier for families to get the brain nutrients they need to thrive. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. Excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you here. Let's just jump right into it. This is a big topic that we're just fascinated with. And what is the problem with brain nutrition today?
I would say that the only problem really is that we're not really thinking about it enough as a society. We know through, lots and lots of years of research around food and health and wellness that we know a lot of the things we should and shouldn't be doing to have sort of healthy bodies. And there's obviously been a big movement over the last decade or so for protein, getting enough protein, eating less sugars, and what that does for our bodies and physical health. But what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these food choices we make or beverage choices we make also really impact our brains and how our brains function, both in the short term and the long term. And so excited to be able to help people understand that today a little bit more.
So tell us a little bit more about Brainiac Foods and how did the company come to be?
Absolutely. So Brainiac was started by two dads. We have two co-founders, co-CEOs, and one, Jonathan, really had an actual aha moment. His dad's a neurologist, so he had a little bit of a leg up on thinking about the brain, but he was actually in between jobs, had just taken a company public, and his third child was born and was diagnosed with failure to thrive. And this happens a lot, unfortunately, but luckily Jonathan had was very connected to the nutrition community, had a lot of connections there. I'm very fortunate. And he was asking some of the people in his circles, like, what should we be doing for little Booker to ensure that he's okay? And most of the people he talked to basically said the same thing. Formula has come a long way. It has all the things you need to worry about for infant nutrition, which is really about brain and eye development in those early days. You want to be making sure that a baby is getting what they need, either from breast milk or formula, for their rapid brain development in those early years or early days, really weeks. But a few of those people he talked to were like, so don't worry about Booker, go to the store, buy him formula, but it's probably like your older kids and you that you should be worried about when it comes to nutrition. And it really was an aha moment was he started thinking like, okay, what does that mean? Like, what are we missing in our diets, or what are my kids missing in their diet? And that's when he went on this journey to find out, actually, there's some key nutrients that we need for our brains. Omega-3, DHA, EPA, and choline are two that really make up the essence of our brains, along with water. And we don't get enough of those foods in our diets, both kids and adults, but kids in particular, especially as you think a lot of kids are pretty picky eaters, they're not getting omega-3s because omega-3s are really found in fish and liver. Not a lot of kids, I know, I'm not sure about you guys, are eating fish on a regular basis. So, and then adults too, for that matter. So really what he found as he really started digging into this is that whether you're, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 20 sometimes, you're probably getting about 20% of the World Health Organization's recommended amount of omega-3 DHA, and you're probably getting about 50% of the choline. And pregnant women actually should be getting a lot more choline. FDA's recently come out with studies on that. And so that was a big, for him, like, wow, like we as a society need to know about this, that we're really underserving our brains in terms of nutrition. And then two, like, what can I do about that? And that's where Brainiac was born, was like, what can we do to help families bring basically tools to get more brain nutrition into your daily routine? Because let's, be honest, like just telling people eat more fish, eat more liver, eat more eggs, eat more broccoli. Sure, that might not be affordable to everyone. Some people just don't like it. There's allergies. So we have a line of nutrition or snacks and supplements that really help give people options for getting brain nutrition into their daily routine.
That was such a great answer. You answered like 2 or 3 of my questions.
Good. I guess.
It sounds like, let's say, the Smiths, they're on the go. Mom is working and she goes to yoga, and, dad's running his company, and, there's 3 kids, and, maybe shopping is an afterthought. And so Brainiac can really come in to this situation, and not only from a sourcing standpoint, we can order the food online, we can order some of the snacks, some of the supplements, and not only is it easy and convenient and well thought through from a science standpoint, but it actually is easy to consume as well.
Yes. Yeah, that is a big focus for us. We do look to make things very snackable, transportable, on the go. We realize that a big part of this, gap in what we're eating for our brains is that we're busy, and we don't always have the time to make, elaborate lunches for ourselves or our families with, tuna or salmon or whatever, and maybe that's happening in the evening for dinner for a lot of families. I speak to a lot of families that are like, actually, my kids eat broccoli, they eat salmon, and that's fantastic. And I'm always going to say that's great. You should keep doing that. That's more important than you realize. But if you have an option to throw, let's say, an applesauce pouch in your kid's lunch, wouldn't you rather throw one in that has, the same amount of omega-3s as an ounce of salmon versus just like pure apple puree? So it's just getting them more of these good nutrients. It's the same way we think about, maybe a snack bar or something. It's like, well, wouldn't you rather have one with protein than just one that has kind of empty calories? Yes, it'll give you some satiation for a little bit, but that's where like the protein industry has really thrived, right? It's like, well, sure, you can have this drink or snack or whatever, but why not have it with some protein? And so that's what Brainiac's doing, not on the protein side, but on the brain nutrition side, like taking snacks that are loved, that are already healthy, but we're making them even better.
I love that, especially coming from an adult picky eater, because I don't eat any fish or anything. So knowing that this is the option out there is also huge for me personally.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm interested to learn a little bit more about what does the research show about kids' brain health today, and how are you guys solving that problem?
Yeah. So, first of all, we are very lucky. Our 2 co-founders, like I said, Jonathan, and then he brought in Mark, have, been able to get and compile an amazing science and nutrition advisory board. So it's not just us that are trying to decide what we should be doing for brain health. We actually do work with and consult on a very regular basis some of the best minds in neurology, nutrition science. And they're really the ones that are looking at the data and seeing like, there's lots of data that comes out about what we eat in America. It comes out like every 8 to 10 years, and it shows like how much of various nutrients we're getting from different age ranges across all things, right? Protein, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin E, omegas. So we look at that. We work with them to look at that, like where are the gaps in nutrition? Because there's a lot of things that are already out there for calcium and vitamin E, vitamin D. There's a lot of products already serving those needs. So where are the gaps that we can fill, and what are the most important? So again, back to the research shows that, you know, people with diets full of omega-3 fats, choline, and some other nutrients that are really coming to light as, you know, our ability to study the brain and what's in the brain has really evolved in the last 10 to 20 years. The research really shows that those brains that have, you know, a higher density of these key nutrients are firing on all synapses more. There's better memory and retention. There's better ability to learn. And this happens in kid research. There's a lot of research around a lot of these nutrients for kids with, you know, ADHD as well. And then it's also in research for, you know, elderly too. There's a lot coming out about cognitive decline. And again, same thing, the brains that are sort of fuller with the right nutrition tend to ward off cognitive decline, or at least we see a lot slower cognitive decline. It depends obviously on the person and sort of family and genes, but the research is there for these key nutrients, and it is because, like, you know, our bones are made of calcium, and you think if you don't eat enough calcium, they become brittle. It's the same thing with your brain. Your brain is not getting the key nutrients that it's made of, then, you know, it is kind of getting brittle. It's not real, but it's, you know, it's not being fed to its full capacity.
I was wondering, you know, we recently had a guest on here, Doug Dumars from Rebellious Beverages, and of course we ordered some of the beverages, and these are drinks that are for kids, right? So they're not excessive, and not at all excessive with sugar, and they're healthy to drink. And our whole family, the adults in the family ended up getting hooked on the drink. And I'm wondering, I got two parts to the question. The first part is, how often does that happen where you have kids products and adults products, where the kids products start getting loved by the adults?
Yeah. We will certainly, that kind of started to happen for us in terms of getting consumer feedback and people reaching out and saying, hey, I really love these applesauces that you guys make. Do you have anything for adults? I'm not really into like sucking on an applesauce pouch, even though they are really tasty. And we actually do get some people that write us in and say, I have one in the afternoon. But so that really was the impetus for us to create other snacks that maybe would be a little bit more accessible to all ages. So we have almond butters and that are, you know, nationwide at Whole Foods. They're called Brain Butter, and they're loved by kids and adults. We have our supplements that launched earlier this year. Again, we have a kids and an adult, and it really is because you know, the family is looking for kind of our core focus, which was, you know, some of the kids focused snacks or lunchbox snacks, I like to call them, or toddler snacks. And then they're kind of like, oh, I should be eating more of these same nutrients too. You know, adults can, or often will take like an omega-3, like a fish oil tablet too. We do see that like, a lot of our consumers maybe are aware of the benefits of like a fish oil or omega-3 in their diet. So they might be already the ones gravitating towards our items for their families. But yeah, we definitely, we love hearing that. We love hearing when like the whole family wants to get involved and have some Brainiac in their lives. It's music to our ears, and we will, I mean, I think for us too, we don't aspire to be just an applesauce brand or just an almond butter brand. We've always set out from the very, very beginning to be a brain health and wellness company. So I think as we continue to develop and grow as an organization, we will continually be looking at how can we serve more and more people.
So my follow-up question is, I'm a big believer in snacks. I mean, I live for snacks. I mean, sometimes I look forward. I mean, I plan my meals. They make fun of us at our company. There's one of my colleagues, Bryce Thompson. Shout out to Bryce. And he all talk about, what are we gonna have for lunch? What's our snack gonna be? And I'm curious, like from your product lineup, what are your favorite snacks?
Oh, it's a great question. So me personally, I like our cinnamon applesauce, like in the afternoon. And like if I'm on like calls, like back to back, and I don't have time to like sit and like eat an apple, I'll grab a cinnamon applesauce. My kids love our strawberry. But I also really like for a treat, our chocolate brain butter is like, I think really big.
That's the chocolate almond brain butter, right?
Yes, the chocolate almond brain butter. It's phenomenal. It's on Amazon and Whole Foods. I could. It's Nutella-esque, but so much better for you. So it's a great treat, even though it isn't that high in the sugars and everything. It doesn't have the hydrogenated oil, so it's like a good treat, but it is a little bit delectable. So those are my two favorites. And then I'm very hooked to our vitamins too. Not that that's a snack, but I do love our vitamins. So those are my faves. My kids, like you said, are a little different, but in terms of how they prioritize.
It all sounds really delicious.
Also, definitely.
Yes. So, what are you most excited about coming up with Brainiac Foods? What's kind of on the horizon?
Yeah, so we started, I don't know if I said this specifically, but we started in like lunchbox snacks. Obviously, we've gotten into more supplements too this year. We've also recently this year really started to go into more of the toddler space. So you find us instead of just in like a lunchbox snack aisle, but in like the baby food aisle, for those younger family members. So people, the kiddos that are like 1 to 2 to 3, that are consuming more of those like toddler and baby pouches. So that has been a big focus for us this past year. And we are super excited that actually 2 regions of Costco will have our Little Brainiac line in the new year for a rotation. So we'll be in Northern California and Texas with our Little Brainiac. We call it Little Brainiac squeezies. They will be there. And those are great. I mean, they are for 1+, but my kids eat them. I eat them. So we have a apple pumpkin, and we have a apple spinach pear that is phenomenal. And that's one of the apple spinach pear will be in the Costco variety pack. So I'm very, very excited about that, because I think that's also just an age where parents are really trying to think about the nutrition. Like once kids are getting a little older and they're picky, and it's like, I just want them to eat something. Whereas like a 1, 2, 3-year-old is still a little less picky, or still a little, depending on the kid, of course, but a little more open to trying. And parents are thinking a little bit more about those nutrition choices early on. So for us as a brand, it's a really great opportunity for us to introduce our products, when the family is just young and starting. So we're really excited about that.
When we were on kind of the pre-show chat, you were talking about some of the trends that you saw, and I thought that would be great to revisit that, things that you think are going to take off in 2024 or beyond.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think as we, as a society, and with the pandemic and all of the brain fog that came along with COVID for a lot of people, I do, and just an increased focus on sort of mental health and wellness. I do think brain nutrition, or thinking about what we're eating and our wellness, not just for our body, but for our brain, I do see that it's becoming more and more of a trend in both kids' food, baby food, as well as for purely for adults. And we do see in like the adult space, there is a little bit more focus on maybe things that will give an immediate benefit. There might be some caffeine or other things that have a little bit more of a immediate sort of energy boost. as well, which obviously helps, right, with your alertness. But I just think in general, I'm seeing more and more focus from our, not just us. I think we were an early pioneer, but more and more focus from brands, both small startups, mission-driven startups, as well as big brands that are bringing in these great nutrients for brain health and wellness. You're starting to see it in the dairy aisle. It's really exciting. I think eventually our hope as a brand is that it just becomes part of our lexicon from a nutrition standpoint.
Love that. What about social media? How does social media play a role in your guys' reach and growth?
Yeah, social's great for an ability to talk to families about some of these nutrients. It's just a really receptive place, right? You're scrolling, you're looking at different things, and you might be like, oh, what's this product or item and what's it about? And you just have a little, maybe more of that lean back time for someone to like read about omega-3 DHA, which they may or may not have ever heard of. And that's just a really great way to connect with a potential consumer or a consumer versus like in a grocery store where you might be going in, you have your list and maybe you're going in with 2 kids and you're just going to buy the thing on the shelf that's either the cheapest or that So for us as a brand that has so much education to do around what we do and what we're offering, social and digital in general are just such a great place for us to be able to have that authentic conversation. We have a few great, influencer nutritionists that we work with that post on their channels. And we're really all about that. We're all about making sure that the message is getting out through trusted resources. It doesn't always have to be on our properties, but, if we can have a prenatal nutritionist who's focusing on all women who are pregnant and what they should be eating and thinking about for their pregnancy and their newborn. If they can be talking about omegas, and they can also be saying, hey, if you're not feeling like eating a lot of eggs, but you need to be eating a lot of choline during your pregnancy, there's all these great fortified products and you could try like a Brainiac. So we really try to utilize these channels for education and helping people understand what we're all about.
I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Favorite beverage?
For me personally, coffee. Coffee girl. Yeah. Love coffee.
Favorite wellness product?
Does Brainiac count?
Of course.
Yeah. Probably my Brainiac vitamins are probably my favorite. I love there's some B vitamins in them, some B6 and B12. So on top of knowing that I'm getting my omegas, the B complex in them gives a little energy boost every day. So I'm definitely hooked to my Brain Pack vitamins.
And what about your favorite music or song at the moment?
Gosh, I love so many genres of music. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and she and I have been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift lately. And I'm really enjoying her Midnights album. That whole album is just so awesome. I'm really, I was not a Swiftie prior to my daughter, but now I've like really come to appreciate how amazing she is. And we did not get tickets to her concert, but we saw the movie, and she is incredible. So I'm now a proud Swiftie.
That's so cool.
I love it.
No, what do you got?
Yeah. So for people who are tuned in and listening, tell them where they can find your product.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we do sell a lot of our products on Amazon, which is very easy for people. Walmart.com and Walmart stores. Most all Walmarts carry our applesauce products. And regionally, you can find us at Meijer if you're in the Midwest, or HEB. Those two amazing retailers have our little Brainiac products. We're also on Thrive Market with our whole line. Thrive has been a great place to get Brainiac. And then if you're down in Florida or the South, we're at Publix. So we've got a really good mix of sort of broad national distribution through like the Walmarts, the Thrives, the Amazon, as well as some really amazing regional grocers that are very beloved in their areas. And hopefully, like I said, soon you can find us in a couple of regions of Costco. And then our almond butters are actually at Whole Foods. That's kind of the main place to find those.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. And thanks to your founders and to you for doing what you do. I think it's so easy to get caught up with the busyness and forget that what you're doing is changing the world, because we're trying to make that deadline or, make the quarter or whatever it is, make that presentation, and we forget that we are making a difference. And so thank you to all of you for doing what you do to make the world better, from Arnell and I.
Thank you so much, you guys. It's been a pleasure.
This episode is brought to you today by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-driven food and beverage brands bring people closer through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more.
And before we go, just a couple of notes there that I was taking to just amuse myself is brain food is not just for kids. As adults, with taxing schedules and heavy objectives and all kinds of ambitions, we need to prioritize our own daily habits, and that includes our own brain health. So don't forget, check out brainiacfoods.com. We've been so excited to talk to Tina today. Tina, thank you for coming on the show.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Hopefully, everyone will now, as you say, think a little bit more about their brains after this episode.
Yes, exactly. And this has been another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where we shine our light on founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.